So you're staring at the Lowrance Recon Saltwater 60-inch trolling motor, and wondering whether it's the one that won't waste your day on the water or the one that ends up back in the garage by noon. I get it. You don't want another motor that sounds like a jet engine, can't hold position in a crosswind, or forces you to baby the battery. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. What makes this category tricky is that most buyers fixate on thrust numbers and shaft length, but the real headaches show up when you're actually fishing: the remote's lag, the anchor drifting in chop, or the shaft corroding after one season. The Recon tries to solve those exact problems with a few clever twists you won't find on the spec sheet. First, the joystick remote isn't just a gimmick. It's wired into the motor's brain, so you can steer, set an anchor point, and even mark fish with one hand while you keep the other on the rod. That matters when you're drifting a live bait rig in a tide change and need to pivot fast without fumbling with buttons. The GPS anchor is accurate enough to hold you within a boat length in most conditions, which beats the usual drift until you reset routine. If you fish reefs, wrecks, or tight channels where positioning is everything, that feature alone can turn a blank day into a keeper. Then there's the motor itself. Brushless means quieter than the old Minn Kota models I've used, so you're not spooking fish every time you adjust. The carbon fiber shaft is stiffer and lighter than aluminum, so it doesn't sag under the weight of a big lure or a strong current. Lowrance backs it with a lifetime warranty, which is unusual in this price range, and tells you they're serious about saltwater durability. Still, remember that warranty only covers the shaft if the electronics fry. You're on your own. Where this rig starts to show limits is in rough water. The GPS anchor can drift a few feet in a stiff chop, or when the wind is against the tide, so if you routinely fish open bays in 20+ knots, you'll still want a secondary anchor setup. The joystick remote also needs a clear line of sight to the motor. If you're rigging from the bow and the console is in the way, you'll fight the cable every time you turn. And while the shaft is corrosion resistant, the lower unit is still painted metal, so if you trailer the boat often, a quick freshwater rinse after every trip is non-negotiable. Who should buy this? If you chase redfish, trout, or flounder in bays, backcountry, or nearshore wrecks and you want pinpoint control without a second helm station, the Recon is worth the premium. It's especially handy if you already run a Lowrance fish finder, because the display integration lets you see waypoints and anchor points on the same screen you're using to watch the bottom. Weekend anglers who trailer their boats will appreciate the lighter shaft and quieter operation, while serious tournament guys will like the repeatable GPS anchoring for practice days. Skip it if you fish big open lakes with no structure, where you're mostly motoring long distances at steady speeds. The joystick remote won't give you much advantage there, and cheaper 55-pound motors will do the job just fine. Also, if you trailer in saltwater every weekend and hate maintenance, the painted lower unit will keep you busy with upkeep. The value isn't in the raw thrust or the longest shaft, it's in the integration. You're paying for the joystick that talks to your display, the anchor that actually holds, and the shaft that won't flex under pressure. Most motors in this class treat those as extras. Here they are standard. That's the difference between a motor that works and one that works for you. If you're on the fence, ask yourself how often you reset your position, how much noise scares fish in your local fishery, and whether you're tired of wrestling with a finicky remote. If any of those ring true, the Recon is the one that might actually stay on the boat. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon.